Hey, it's me, just some guy. Subscribe to the first podcast to add some LBs to your dumper.
So, I think we should just get into it. Apparently, Kudos has something for us. He wants us to break 160 plus episodes of tradition of having the guests start the show.
Trailblazer.
Yeah. I'm shaking things
bud.
up big style.
Can you do it without stuttering like you're doing so far? Can you please do it like a consummate professional?
Yeah, and lose the accent.
Oh, Doplex. All right, here we go. Our guest today needs no introduction, but I'll try anyway. Ricepirate, known to the woman of Burbank as Mick Lauer, graces the first podcast today with his third appearance. A veteran of internet content creation, Mick's exhaustive list of art, animations, and voice work are so far-reaching that you have likely heard his voice without even knowing it's him. Of course, a talent like his can't be contained by the internet, and his silky sound waves have found their way into a number of mainstream TV shows, including a starring role in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the animated series based on the life of children's YouTube star JoJo Siwa, as well as numerous impromptu appearances on Dateline NBC's To Catch a Predator. Of course, nobody's resume is flawless, and today we're going to be chatting to Mick about his experience as the lead voice actor for the infamous PC game Hunt Down the Freeman, a fan game based on the beloved Taika Waititi movie Hunt for the Wilder People. Mick, thanks for joining us on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you for that intro. That was epic. That was great.
I didn't do a lot of research, so I hope that was accurate.
I mean, you were hitting spots I didn't even know about, so you've clearly done your research. That's great.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you guys. It's always a pleasure. You guys are always such fine gents. It feels comfortable being here. It's a warm embrace. Yeah. It smiles. I haven't frowned once since I got on the call. So
it's very cozy.
Yeah.
Well, the night is still young.
Can we do something to make Mick actually frown? Like, what would we have to do?
Don't worry.
To make him visibly frown.
Dude, this whole topic's gonna have me frowning like a sad clown. Like, okay. Yeah, it won't be a problem.
Yeah,
that won't be a problem.
By the way, I just wanted to point it out before we get into kind of the meat of this, that I feel like, Mick, when I grow up, minus the male pattern baldness, I would love to be like you someday.
Damn,
you are one of the realest dudes that I know. You're endlessly supportive of your content creator friends. You're always doing stuff for people. You undercharge for it too. You toss me free clips and stuff. You are an amazing individual, and I'm really glad that you're here today. So thank you for coming back on.
I'm old, and I couldn't give a fuck about invoicing because I'm so lazy. Right? That's what it is.
I can attest to that because I actually commissioned some voice work off you, and I suggested a value, and you suggested one significantly lower, and I was like, "That's very nice of you."
Hey, man, we all got to start somewhere, and I appreciate any time someone wants to compensate for any of the effort. We live in a time where things like influence or exposure are considered currencies, and that's a bit of a shame, and kind of part of this topic we're talking about today. So, yeah. So I mentioned to you guys before we started the show that I prepared a bit of a statement. It is a lengthy one. So again, if you guys ever want to cut in or, whatever, just unceremoniously cut me off and we can pick up from where we are. But I know we got statements from other guys. So a lot of statements today. It's a statement kind of night. So I'm going to try to, I might read a little fast and I might fuck it up because I just drank a bottle of sake. So we'll see what happens.
Sure, make it better.
By the way, let's do a quick headphone check. Everyone has their headphones on. Everyone's headphones are turned down reasonably so it doesn't get on their audio.
Yes, sir.
Everyone's balls tucked away. Don't want those little puppies falling out.
Don't get those snagged.
Hey, we should
bring them out, dude. Man spread all you want. There's no women here. Come on,
Kudos. Yeah, we banned them. This is the first all-male Discord server.
Oh, I don't like this
one's
take.
for the fellas.
You'd be lucky if you snagged that on some lady in the chat. All right.
Yeah.
Can I just say, before we get into this, maybe we should give a quick rundown of what Hunt for the Freeman was.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Hunt down the Freeman?
Whatever is, Hunt, go find that dang Freeman, I think it was called. That was the working title.
Well, yeah. Well, just to give the audience, by the way, I also want to say that if you are the kind of insane person who doesn't want Hunt Down the Freeman spoilers, like if that's important, if you really are looking forward to playing this game at some point, and you're a patient gamer who's had it on your list and you're waiting for it to go on sale, skip this episode for now and come back to it later.
No, don't.
But-
There's no fucking spoilers. The whole thing's spoiled. It's all a big spoiled mess. Whatever.
Yeah,
man.
but there's going to be one dude named like Doomy45 in the comments who's going to be like, thanks, guys.
Now I can't play Hunt Down the Freeman.
Guess what? That one's for you, bud.
Yeah, unless you have like a dev kit, you can't beat the game anyway. So whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you literally have to like no clip through some parts.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right, so spoilers for that. You've been warned.
So this is simultaneously a spoiler episode and a walkthrough for the game.
Yeah, here's your warning. 3, 2, 1. Let's continue.
All right.
Let's spoil.
Sounds good. So I tried to make this as professional as possible with preface and all this other kind of stuff.
Damn,
but again,
dude.
I'm going to try to
Okay.
blaze through this so it doesn't eat up too much time. So first off,
Eat all the time you want, please.
I will yum yum. First off, a number of years have passed since Hunt Down the Freeman has been released, so I've honestly blocked out a lot of the shit from my head. So if any of my information is a little bit off, I welcome anyone, especially Birkin, the creator, director, writer, the Kojima of Hunt Down the Freeman, to contest it, any of my information with receipts, because most of the receipts were deleted when he yeeted himself off of Discord after the whole debacle.
Oh,
Also, a lot of details were discussed over calls because from what I could tell, and I guess also from some of his interviews, he has some serious trust issues with writing chat messages, which is a little weird, and it was then, but you know, it makes a little bit more sense now. But I also didn't know what his past was. I want to be clear. While I might throw some serious shade at Birkin, I don't hate the guy. I wish him the best. I don't dislike anyone who was a part of the project. From what I saw in the Hunt Down the Freeman Discord, there were plenty of people working day and night around the clock on the game. I can't speak for everyone, but there was certainly a number of members that cared about the project. When I went to the office, and I'll talk more about that, it was, I mean, people were just racing around working on their computers. So I'll talk more about that later. In terms of Birkin, it's all been said before. We've all heard it. He's too young, too ambitious, and too inexperienced to pull off this project. I don't think he set out with the intent of creating a cash grab, which was what some of the accusations were. Though towards the end of this dumpster fire, there were some decisions and plans that definitely felt pretty, at the very least, shady. And I'll also get to that later.
Sorry, can I just cut him real quick? How old was he? I don't think
So,
I've seen that mentioned anywhere.
you know, I think he was like 20. But the funny thing is,
Oh, sure.
when he hit me up on Facebook 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, he mentions a very short line where he's just like, I was 18, I was young, ah ha ha, you know, but I don't think he was 18 at the time. I think he was 18 when the project first was conceived. And that's when they were first like getting the money, because there was like several years of, fundraising and development and all this other kind of stuff.
Sure.
So I don't know the exact age he was at the time. He kind of existed, because I met him. He exists in like this ambiguous, I don't know, 19 to 22 kind of looking phase of his life. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
He could probably get into a bar, like it wouldn't be too weird to see him at a bar, but at the same time, if he wasn't legal, it wouldn't be a big surprise either.
Sure.
So basically just that we're all creators, right? All of us, we all make stuff. And so we've all dreamed big, and I respect that. He had a vision, even at whatever, 18, 19, 20. And he wanted to bring it to life, for better or worse. He was definitely involved and dedicated in the project. I saw him online working all the time. Unfortunately, I think his focus and efforts were on the cutscenes, the cinematic aspect of the game, rather than the actual game itself. And that about ends my backhanded compliments about Birkin. Birkin's the only name I'm dropping, even though I will mention some other folks. If you know who they are, like if you know kind of like, oh, he's talking about that guy, that's great. But I'm not going to say their name. I just prefer to, I don't like to do that. This bus right here is for Birkin. As for my, as far as my recounting of the events. So before I talk more about the project, it should be stated that I did sign a contract /NDA that explicitly said that I cannot talk about this project. And I want it to be clear that I am not in the habit of breaking these types of agreements. You know, I'm a professional voice actor. I don't want companies thinking that this is what I fucking do, because it isn't. This is literally the only one. And I feel justified in talking about it. Not because the game is over or, that it's done with and it's a complete clusterfuck and everybody hates it, but because in terms of the contract, they didn't hold up their end. So I feel completely free of responsibility to break my end. And, if any of them, I am. I'm the Freeman. Hunt me down.
guys, I found him.
He's here, game's over, boys.
He's bald and he's Chinese.
Wubba lubba zinga.
Yeah. If seriously, they can hunt me down, because if any of them want to drag me to court, I would be ecstatic, because that I might get a chance at my fucking money. All right.
Yeah, sure. What's your address?
Thanks. I copied and pasted the contract right here. And I just love this one line that says, payment will be done after game release on Steam Store and paid off all expenses. So I guess whatever the actor was going to get was only going to happen after all other expenses were paid. And I find that kind of funny. Whatever.
A real afterthought.
Yeah, exactly. We get the scraps. So anyways, October 2017. I want you to take yourself there. October 2017. A different world, really. A different time. I was hit up in DMs by a creator that I greatly respect. A lot of people do, honestly. Still do. The events of the Hunt Down the Freeman saga bullshit shit show has absolutely zero impact on my feelings towards this person. Okay? I'm not going to say who they are, but goddamn, they're cool. They're really fucking cool.
Anyways, many kudos.
Exactly. Kudos, damn you. Anyways, this person, they hit me up. They told me about this Half-Life game. Sounded neat. And I'm usually down to collab. Kudos. You know this. First podcast, boys. You know this.
Yeah.
I love to collab with people. It's just a fun thing to do. The fact that this particular person reached out to me and they seemed pretty positive about the project. I don't think they were 100% like, oh, this is going to be amazing. I think they had a few suspicions, but at the same time, what they saw was what I saw, and it looked pretty cool. So that was all the credibility I needed to gain interest in this. I saw that really famous G-Man clip where he says, oh, Black Mesa, whatever the fuck he says. Like, it's clearly not Black Mesa.
Mr.
Yeah.
Freeman.
Yeah.
Step on
I am a Half-Life.
Mr. Freeman.
Look,
Sorry.
no matter how he pronounced it didn't look terrible. You know what I mean? Like at the time,
Yeah,
it was like,
fine.
okay, this is a fan game and it looks pretty cool. All right, cool. All right. So after some emails with Birkin, we set up a call for a live audition. I had no other details at this point. I did not know who I was reading for. I didn't know who was involved aside from the person who, reached out to me. It was just a standard audition like any other until we got into the audition. Once we got in the call, I heard Birkin talk. It became very clear this project was going to be a little bit different. I've worked with folks internationally, so it wasn't his accent or broken English. That's totally fine, normal. If you're American and you only speak one language, go fuck yourself, learn another language. It was more of the unprofessional way that he was talking up the project, okay? Like he was really, really trying to sell this thing. And it's just an audition at this point. Maybe he just, I don't know, maybe he felt like he needed to, I have no fucking idea. Maybe it was the spiel he gave to like everybody else who was involved. It felt kind of like I was secretly auditioning for it would turn out to be a Russian porno. You know what I mean? Like it just had this vibe where it was too hard sell. Anyways, there were others in the call, and they sounded a little more professional and local. And no matter how awkward the whole thing is or was, it was just an audition. I'm a voice actor, which I gotta say this. Out of all of the Hunt Down the Freeman videos that rag on the game, out of all the comments, every single one of them points out that everybody who was voice cast was just a YouTuber.
The devs thought it'd be a great idea to ask a bunch of YouTubers to voice for the game, and somehow I wasn't the worst.
And not a voice actor. Now, I'm not saying I'm a good voice actor. I'm not saying, I'm a bad voice actor.
I am. Fuck it. You're a good voice actor.
Yeah, you're great.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. But it just baffled my mind that I'm the lead of this fucking game. And everyone's just saying, oh, it's a bunch of YouTubers who never voice acted in their whole fucking life. And they threw them together for clout. And it was just like, dude, I am the most irrelevant quote unquote YouTuber. I haven't, like I barely post on fucking YouTube. Nobody knows me on YouTube. I have bloated subscriber numbers from the past. But I do voice act. I only bring that up not to be like, I'm a voice actor. I bring it up to say that I auditioned at that time. I was auditioning like 5 times a day. So as far as I was concerned, this was just another audition. Like someone presented an audition and I took it. The only reason why I bring that up is because there was definitely some criticism about like, why would you even take this role? And what were you thinking? Didn't you do your research behind the project and all this shit? It's just like, dude, I'm auditioning all the fucking time. Anyways, right off the bat, Birkin explained that this was a quote unquote Half-Life project, official Half-Life project. That they not only had the legal licensing for the Half-Life name, but it was quote unquote backed by Valve. Okay. Now in the future, I understand that the purchasing of the licensing that, I get that. So they did have official licensing. Fine. But the backed by Valve comment is I think maybe it was just a stretch of like the green light process. Right? Or something like that.
Yeah. It was on Steam, so therefore it was endorsed.
Right. So it's right endorsed. Yeah.
It is sort of in a weird way though, like the fact that they let an unofficial game using their like story assets to be sold on their platform does sort of carry with it like a somewhat of an endorsement, but yeah, not like the way he would have said it, where it's like, oh yeah, I was on the phone with Gabe and he was like, yep, sounds good.
No, but like with us, like in retrospect, it makes so much sense that like we're someone to sell this as a officially licensed Half-Life game backed by Valve. That is their sales pitch, that you can actually parse it and it technically makes sense.
Yeah.
So
like,
I'm gonna throw out a wild theory here. And this is probably not true, but do you think maybe Valve was hoping that like, by licensing this out, that maybe it would suffice and that they wouldn't have to make Half-Life 3?
This was gonna be, you know what? Maybe that's why they keep licensing it out. They keep hoping that somebody's gonna pick up the mantle and finally do it for them. That's why
do it justice. Yeah.
Please, we don't want
They're gonna get some awesome indie team to just rock it. Anyway, so at that time when I heard those words, despite my concerns were assuaged for the moment.
Ooh, good word.
They had me read for some like random general soldier guy. And after a few takes, Birkin got all excited and asked if I would read for Mitchell, who turns out to be the main guy. I did not know that at the time. The audition script for Mitchell was like pages long. It was like 1 or 2 of his major speeches, I think. And I ended up having to read it like 5 times. Birkin was pretty happy and actually set up a second audition with me to go over more of the script. But this time it was just one-on-one. And after that, that's when I really started to get concerned. I understand wanting control over your project. I understand not being a vocal director who thinks they're a vocal director. Birkin's directing style was to spoon feed the delivery of every line. He had a way he wanted it said, and you'd repeat the line until it met his vision of perfection or whatever, I guess. If you don't know much about voice acting, or if you do, it's a very frustrating way to work, like, read and repeat kind of direction.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if everyone got this treatment or if it was specifically just how he handled Mitchell. So I don't know if this story aligns with other people's stories. But I was already kind of regretting getting in on the call with the dude at this point. And we're just at the audition phase. After hours of repeating the same shit, I don't remember if he offered the role on the spot or if there was like a couple days in between. Regardless, he told me I'd gotten the part of Mitchell. And that's when he sent over the contract. And that's when he told me who was involved. Okay, so up until now, I have no idea who's a part of this project except for the guy or the person who brought me in. It definitely seemed like a point of pride. I mean, you guys all know who's in it at this point. So again, I'm not naming names, but you guys know who's in it. Sure. Sure, maybe he was in it.
My fellow Americans.
My fellow Americans.
As soon as he told you Keemstar, you're like, yep, sign me up, baby.
So it definitely seemed like a point of pride when he brought it up, that he'd gotten all these YouTubers involved and that I was lucky to be a part of the project and that it was a guaranteed success because of the name power. He never said those words. That was absolutely the vibe I got from what he said. at the time, because I just remember being a little bit shaken. And while that was a red flag, having all those YouTubers on, I have said this before, and I stand by this. But if you have the right script and the right director, I think you could get solid performances out of any of those YouTubers. I honestly believe that. It just needs to be the right character. I could see any of them in like a GTA game, or you know what I mean? You just need to know their strengths and cater your script to those strengths.
Yeah.
But in the hands of Birkin, it was just inevitably going to be a lifeless fucking trash fire.
One example, I think, from that, if I could interject here, I think there's one example
please. Yeah.
That I think I had everything mentioned, that he was asked to
play an Asian guy,
play an American Asian man when he is a white, I'm assuming white British man.
Yep.
Yeah. You know what? I love that you brought him up, because at the very end of this, that is just a zinger that there's no documentary that's mentioned this. That's one of those, you got to come to the first podcast to hear, because there's a big, beautiful nugget of just what the fuck that is related exactly to that. Anyways, so the contract, I noticed it said $200 for every 100 words, which, that doesn't sound all bad, but based on that audition process, which was insane, and how he wanted to direct things with endless repetition, I was a little nervous, and I asked what he thought the total payment from Mitchell would be, by the end of the project, because I hadn't seen the full script. And that's when he said he'd be paying me $5,000, or I wrote or $7,000 because I don't remember which one it was, but it was at least $5,000. So it was either $5,000 or $7,000, but it was a lot. And so, that felt like a price point that, like, fuck it, let's roll with this. Let's see what happens. I'll put up with whatever the hell he does.
Is that, without getting too personal, is that like more or less than like what you'd be used to, or was?
Oh God, yeah. That's great. That's good money. I mean, I've done, games pay a lot more than anime, and union gigs pay more than some non-union games. Sure. So there's kind of like a tier list, but this was on par of this was probably on par of doing like a few episodes of a network series. So it was like, okay, like this is good. This seems like decent money. It's not insane, but it's not terrible. It's good. It's really solid.
Sure.
But anyways, as much as it seemed like a solid paycheck, later it would not feel like such a good deal, considering how many hours and nights and lines and retakes and rewrites and random 3 a.m. emergency recording sessions. By the end of the project, no matter what they would have fucking paid me, it would have been pity fucking money by that point, honestly, for me specifically.
Yeah.
And there were just so many lines that didn't even show up in the project, which infuriates me to no end, but whatever, it's to be expected with all the other chaos, and other people's work didn't get in the game. So who am I to fucking complain? The process of recording was painful, as I said before. Lots of nitpicky repetition. When there was like a page-long monologue, he'd want the whole thing recorded in one take, which is normal for 1, 2, 3 takes, maybe 4, maybe if you really want to get that emotional progression through it. But when you're hitting like 10 takes, it's not okay to do to your actors. Like, clearly you're not directing them the way that they need to, or they just don't know how to do their job.
Sure.
Which someone could say I didn't know, but trust me that, oh God. So rather than like cutting in here or there, like a line here or there, or punching in halfway or something like that, it was just torture. God, there were just, so many takes. And so, yes, specifically, there's a line that happened. It happens on a boat, and it's talking to the captain. Mitchell's talking to the captain. I believe Colossal voiced that captain, where he's like, "Oh, Mitchell, is that the god of blast?
God?
No, are you the devil who's going to kill us all?" Yeah, whatever the fuck that shit was. That
classic boatman dialogue.
Right? Yeah. Dude, my response to his question when he asks my name, it's a very simple line. He just says Mitchell, right? Mitchell. Dude, this line probably took 20 takes or more.
Really?
I just remember losing my shit recording this line. And, Birkin's on the other line repeating it And he's repeating it to me in a way. He's like, no, more like Mitch. And I'm just like, oh my God, dude, this sounds fucking stupid. What the fuck? And we went back and forth, and I kept trying to do it. And he's like, no, more like Mitch. And I was just like, what? So as our sessions progressed, I voiced my concerns. Like as like the days went by, I became more vocal. Like, all right, dude, like what the fuck are we doing today? But he always wanted it his way. And I tried to tell him like, hey man, like maybe try this or whatever. And listening to that scene, I saw it in the Tro video. I saw it before. It's fucking stupid. It sounds fucking stupid. What's your name? Mitcha. It sounds fucking stupid. He had no business vocal directing this project. He also had no business writing on this project. Anything, at least in English. Dude, he'd often send over scripts that could not be read. And it wasn't like, oh, you're missing a word here or there. It was like someone took the Japanese subtitles of Metal Gear Solid and crammed it through a Google Translate.
That's probably what happened.
Yeah, I mean, that speech from the captain alone, who fucking knows? Was it ripped from some Korean philosophy on war or something? I don't know.
Mitchell, are you God? Does that mean Jesus? Who's an encyclopedia of what names mean? Sorry, go on.
Yeah. So a lot of times I actually had to rewrite the script just so it could be recorded because I wouldn't know what to fucking say. And there were numerous times I tried to passively, diplomatically hint, because I don't want to piss off the guy. I'm working for the guy and he's trying to get this thing done. So it's like, all right. But I did try to hint like, dude, your script is broken garbage. And he would completely ignore it. Like he couldn't process the fact that he was getting criticism. Now, this is one of the few times that I either A, have, or B, will present receipts. This is a Skype call that we had back in October 2017. This isn't the call, it's the text, because whatever.
Exhibit A.
One of the rare texts that we had. So I go, hey, brother, is this Mitchell or just description? Here you go. Scene 1. It has been 4 years since the 7-Hour War. After the war was over, the alien empire Combine already started to enslave humanity and take the Earth's resources. They opened facilities to modify humans to make them brainless soldiers for their own armies. There were no, and it goes on a little bit longer just for like a paragraph essentially. So for me, that sounds like description, right? Of a scene. It's been 4 years since the 7-Hour War, whatever. So I'm just asking, is this the character or is this a scene description? His answer, yep.
Thank you.
I say, lol, which? And he goes, it's Mitchell. All right. So I go, K. I noticed some grammatical stuff throughout the script. He says, explaining when Act 2 starts.
What?
Okay, that doesn't really. All right. And I said, do you mind if I edit stuff? I'll go over the edits with you. He responds, I don't mind. This is some parts that not corrected yet. K. Then he writes, closer to the end, not really corrected. Because gonna rewrite. Or gonna extend some parts. I'm ready for call whenever you are. Okay. Just going through the script for edits still, but I'll be ready at 2 no matter what. Alrighty. Hey brother, are we doing everything listed as Mitchell here on the doc? Not everything. Okay, I was going through all of the edits, but I'll just go with what we got for now. Again, I'll talk through the edits I made if we hit one of those sections. Yeah, the places need edits, so the ones not done, these are the parts we will pass. All right. So that, just from the beginning, just trying to remind him like, yo, I am editing your script. Oh, good. So I'm still editing it. We need to, okay, yeah, we're starting. Just don't, yeah. And it was just like, dude, okay. So it was just one of those things that, I don't know, man. It was on top of the voice acting, on top of already like, what the fuck's going on? I forgot to mention that conversation was prior to our first recording session.
Oh.
So in terms of red flags, that was like oh no, this is going to be bad.
It strikes me as unusual in this situation, and obviously I'm not in the voice acting industry myself, but it's weird to hear from an outsider's perspective that someone who's doing a project that clearly isn't in their native language wouldn't have someone kind of on staff and
Yeah.
to handle that.
Yeah. So to be fair, and that was my next point, and to be fair, yes, there was I am almost certain he was not the only writer.
Okay.
In fact, I remember when we were doing auditions, I think he had some of the other writers there. I think there was one or two. One guy was like the lore guy who was like trying to make sure everything was like up to snuff in terms of lore, even though some people were saying it wasn't. But there were other people involved with the scripts. So this didn't happen all the time. There were definitely scripts that I got that didn't feel as broken. But when it did, it was clear as day. And I'm not trying to be mean, honestly. I'm not trying to say like, you guys know me. I'm not a mean guy, but I'm not trying to be mean. I have no idea how the fuck he got hired by Activision if he had to write any kind of email or letter to whoever was in charge of hiring. Like, unless decipherable English isn't a requirement for a game studio job in America. Again, I'm not saying he should be fired. I'm not saying he's not capable of whatever they hired him for. I'm just baffled that someone with those kind of communication skills was able to fucking get like a job at a major studio. It boggles my mind.
Anyways,
Well, does he?
What did he get a job as?
Does he work for Activision Turkey, or because it's like, I mean,
no, I think he's here. That doesn't
make any sense.
I think he's here. Someone in the chat may know, or someone else may know, but he works for Activation/Blizzard, is what he said.
Sure.
So I don't know where. I don't know.
Maybe it's kind of like how he was saying earlier, like, oh yeah, this is a totally licensed game from Valve. Maybe like he's kind of embellishing that a little bit.
He's making World of Warcraft 2, but Blizzard doesn't know it yet.
Like when he says, oh yeah, I worked for Activision Blizzard, what he means is he pitches a tent outside their headquarters and hangs out there.
That's what I thought initially, but the Tro video, I mean, I'm assuming the right opinion is doing his homework. And he had a whole section talking about it. So at that point, I mean, look, I'm not going to lie. Up until that point, even after my conversation with him in 2020, when he told me about it, I was like, oh, really? But when I saw the video, I was like, well, I assume this is true. I'm assuming they did their homework, at least on these facts. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure he does.
Tom Vidioga in the chat has posted a tweet from him saying that he, when he announced that he started at Activision Blizzard as a production coordinator.
Yeah,
and this was
of all fucking jobs. Of all fucking jobs.
Well, as long as he's not responsible for the script.
Yeah, no, right.
Oh, and I want to make a quick footnote here because you brought up Tro.
Yeah.
And that's something kind of funny. Tro, I wouldn't necessarily call him a friend of the show. I'll call him an acquaintance of the show.
Mm-hmm.
I'll call him an enemy of the show.
Yeah, Jay Aubrey was on here.
Yeah.
You guys had,
Yeah, I'll call him a friend.
Doplex was on here.
It's just kind of funny because, like, the timing of it was so... Like, the day after we announced, like, oh, yeah, Mick's going on the podcast. Or maybe, I think it was, like, hours later. He's like, oh, I came out with an entire video.
Dude, you sent me the
Freeman
schedule. You posted in your Discord weeks ago that we were going to do this conversation. Then... I DM'd you on Discord and I was like, hey, I feel like I haven't said anything about this. It's happening next week. Do you mind if I make a post about it? And you were like, yeah, go ahead. And then I do. And then 3 hours later, Tro drops an hour 15 documentary on it. And as far as I was concerned, that's great homework. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure.
He did like the turnaround, 3 hour turnaround for a 1 hour video is insane. I don't know how he did it.
I know. He worked really fast.
He's efficient, man.
He really loves his editors. He treats them right, and they work hard for him. So
he should be a production coordinator at Blizzard.
I got a lot of love for Tro and Jay Aubrey and those guys. I don't know them well. I just appreciate their content. You guys are pretty good too. But
I played ping pong with Tro.
Okay,
and he kicked my ass.
I gotta say though, like this is I guess the final irony of this though is that this episode would also make great homework for him on that video.
Oh, it will. It will at the end. Oh, it will at the end for sure.
Yeah, delete your video, TRO. Start over.
You got it wrong, son. All right. So this. You know what? This is interesting because this actually comes up to a point where, in the Right Opinion video, there was a point that he brought up where some people were talking about how there were delays for the game and how it was all an intentional way to like build up hype and get people all like, you know, like riled up ants in the hive, you know, everyone's just fucking, they're hungry for more. Hunt down the fucking Freeman. But
they released 1,000 tiny Freemans into New York City.
Into the air.
Yeah, people had to hunt them down. That was part of the promo.
You got to get panty shots of them all in order. Never mind. Sorry. That's
trade information about your senpai Freeman.
Yeah, sorry. That's a meta joke. Shit.
Yeah, how many layers are we? Sorry.
Yeah. So we were recording lines up to the release and throughout the delays. So the rumor that any of the delays were just tactics to boost hype is fundamentally false. The development team on Discord was going absolutely bonkers. I mean, some of these guys were very clearly smelling the smoke from the engine room and like, you know, pulling these crazy hours, while others, sure, seemed less concerned and were like posting memes or like they were getting angry at online criticisms and shit. But it was definitely that scenario that we were talking about earlier where it's like just a bunch of scientists running around and turning knobs and shit. Like everyone's just going fucking nuts. This period of time is when the 2 a.m., 3 a.m. emergency voice sessions started to happen. They needed hundreds of lines that I guess they didn't think to add earlier on in the process. I ended up having to mix and edit these lines and cut and export each take of each line because they were pressed on time, you know? And that was part of what I do for my job, not as a voice actor, but just in life. All the while, like I was just thinking, I'm going to get paid. Like just fucking get through the shit. Mm-hmm. After the first trailer, the cinematic trailer, which was whatever, it was fine. Myself and a number of the other voices in the game gave it a signal boost, which was a screenshot that Tro had as well.
Yes, that's right.
It wasn't the worst thing that I'd ever seen. And I was amped. I was still amped for the game. But by now, I had seen the comments, I'd seen the concerns, and a friend of mine, he wasn't sold on it. And he gave me some advice. He was like, I don't trust any game trailer that doesn't show gameplay.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? You're right. I'm not a gamer like you. And I've got my head so far up this project's ass in terms of like how involved I am. I didn't even think about that. Mm-hmm. So I asked Birkin about a gameplay trailer. I just, DM'd him. And while the cinematics, fine, they're cool, they're whatever, and they're clearly his favorite part, people got to see the game. He agreed and promised that a game trailer was in the works. That went on for a while, by the way. We went back and forth for weeks. When I went to the house, and I'll talk about the house later, I asked him at the house, where's the gameplay trailer? This is like when the final deadline had already been announced. I'll talk about that later. But I was getting nervous. I think, eventually there was one, I think, right? And then and it had like, I don't know if it had like 10 or 15 or whatever seconds of gameplay that was in. It doesn't matter. It wasn't very impressive. People weren't impressed. They still had their doubts. And when that trailer came out, I did not signal boost that. So, I can understand why there wouldn't be a screenshot of me signal boosting that one, because at that point I had my serious doubts about the project. Even though I was voicing the main character and I wanted it to be good, I wanted it to succeed, I could not in good faith retweet that announcement. I think by the time it was about to hit the shelves, everybody knew what this was all going to be. We all knew how this was going to turn out, and we were kind of by omission not trying to associate ourselves with this thing. If anyone goes through my feed and they do happen to find a tweet where I did, I will happily eat my words, but I am 99.9% sure that I did not. I made a point of not doing that. So I just want to make sure, hey, it's been years and maybe sure. I don't want to say things that aren't true.
It's an interesting point where like you often wonder when people work on something like, say like The Room, for example, you often think like, surely you must have known when you were filming it that it was going to turn out like this. But yeah, it's interesting. You get
you don't. Yeah, you don't until the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't know how the final thing is going to work. Dude, if you saw any of the fucking documentaries, even the sound guys didn't even fucking know how this thing was. The people doing the level design or the cutscenes, they didn't know how any of this was going to turn out. Everyone was so segmented because the way Birkin wanted to work was like a shadow government where you have all of these, these pods of people working independently without any knowledge of each other. And so then they bring all the pieces to him and he arranges it all into this fucking Picasso-esque clusterfuck of whatever the hell it was.
Kill me.
And even like the weird voice acting stuff that you've had to deal with where it was like, this is odd, but like I've watched a lot of panels on the cast who did Red Dead 2, and the way Rockstar seems to do their acting sounds very weird. It sounded like weeks into production, people didn't even know who they were. Like the lead character of Red Dead 2 didn't even know that. They didn't even know it was Red Dead 2. They didn't even tell them.
Could you tell? Could you tell when you play the game?
No, exactly. You couldn't.
Because they know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, people just...
Yeah. Right. It just happens like that. Like if I voice for anime, if I do dubbing, I don't necessarily always know. Like when I was doing JoJo, a lot of times for some reason, I don't know if it's because Abakio starts with an A, but I would end up recording my lines before anybody else. So a lot of times it's me voicing as Abakio against Japanese words, or Japanese other actors versus other characters where you hear like the American version of it or the English version, sorry. And then, you record to that. So yeah, sometimes you don't know, and then you just trust the director to know that they can put these pieces together. And when you hear it together, sometimes it's amazing, sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's not, but I don't, there's so many possible people to blame, including myself or whatever the case may be. So whatever.
Just wanted to point out, by the way, now that we're kind of maybe let's say like halfway-ish through this, that there is a live chat going on right now.
Okay.
And if people are listening to this and they like what they hear and they want to tune into these episodes live, they can go to discord.t1podcast.com. Doplex, what's the URL?
Discord.t1podcast.com.
Kudos, what's the URL?
Discord. And then, oh God. The T1 podcast.discord/Ricepirate.
There you go. That's it.
No, don't go there.
There we go.
That doesn't exist. No, it doesn't exist.
Kudos, I typed it in the chat so you could just read it.
Discord.t1podcast.com/Ricepirate. Wait, no, without the, hold on. Discord.t1podcast.com.
That's
/Ricepirate.
There we go.
No. All right. I'm gonna blaze through this a little faster just so we can so we don't eat up all the time. It's more than halfway done, and it gets a little bit spicier. So I'll just talk through it.
No, please, dude, don't feel obligated to rush it. I'm enjoying this.
We're into Vindaloo territory here.
Am I boring you guys?
No,
by the way,
You're fascinating,
I know
tantalizing,
Stop.
Titillating.
I knew tits were gonna come
Kudos,
in here.
don't insult
Everyone in
me.
the chat saying this is really boring, but you're not boring us. Don't worry about it.
I'm sorry. Okay, it's gonna get better. Okay, here we go. So it was during that delay period when there were like multiple delays that I visited the office. I mean, look, I was invited and I was curious, so I had to fucking go. At that point, I think there was like a final release date already announced. So this was technically the launch party. Okay. For anyone who lived in LA. Now, this was a house or a condo or the fuck. It had multiple floors, but it was in downtown LA, in the middle of downtown LA, which I cannot imagine is cheap to rent. Once I got inside, the whole first floor, I swear to God, the whole first floor was just computers stacked on boxes and like 10 guys or more, all guys on staircases, guys on couches, all cranking on the game.
Oh,
it was like that house from Project Mayhem and Fight Club. Just people walking around, like guys in pajamas, guys getting their takeout food and whatever.
A sweatshop for gamers.
Yeah, exactly. Bergen's handing out cigars to some of us, not everybody. That night, I swear, we went outside while everybody else is pounding away at their keyboards. Despite the Titanic clearly within inches of impact.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, we all saw it coming. Birkin felt like king of the world. He was, dude, we were sitting there. He's like, promising this game was going to crush expectations. He was already planning his next game. It was going to be everyone's golden ticket. I specifically was going to be reached out by fucking Kojima for roles after this game, after he saw this game. Now, I wasn't sold on the dream. I'm an old man. You know, I've seen young men dream. So I just, you know, I try to be polite. I nodded. You know, hey, thanks for everything, man. Good luck. I just, look, I still wanted the game to be good. So then the game releases. For real. Oh boy. It's a disaster. Nothing works. It's buggy. It's embarrassing. It's incoherent. It's boring. And half the people are laughing. Half the people are fucking pissed off. One YouTube guy, unnamed, who voiced for the project, day one drops a scathing disavowing of the project, which I get it. I no hard feelings. None at all. I totally understand the reasoning. I've seen his video. But at the time, when it was all going down, it definitely felt like someone racing out in front of like a mess. Like we were all a part of this shit circus, and it just seemed like he was dashing out the door like, I have nothing to do with this. I disavow. All those other guys, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. I have nothing to do with this. I don't want money. And I guess what I'm trying to say is it didn't feel like there was much camaraderie among the people that felt like they kind of got shafted or roped into this bullshit.
Right.
It was just like rats fleeing independently, kind of. And again, look, none of these guys who were part of this, they don't owe anybody anything like that were part of the cast. We never met each other. We didn't hang out. So, you know, I don't know any of these guys. I just thought it was funny how, like, as soon as the game dropped, it was like, ah! Just like fucking throwing everybody under the bus like it's possible.
So it happens when you hire commentary YouTubers.
Yeah. So what you're saying is this was the video game equivalent of Epstein's Island.
Yeah. Like if you were on that, if somebody released the list, yeah, if they released the airplane, the fucking, what do you call that? Yeah.
Can you rewind a second, by the way, because you mentioned something which really stood out to me, and a couple people in the chat, I think, got this too, which was that he was like selective and stingy with his cigars.
Well, I mean, there was like 30 plus people, because he invited so many people. He invited, like, I was there, Sear was there. Yeah. I don't know if any other actors that were a part of it were there. I don't think any other actors were. But
I can't imagine people like Pyro and AHE made the trip. Like,
well, also to be fair, not everybody wants to smoke a cigar. I mean, if you ever had a cigar, not everybody wants one. So I can't blame them for that. Yeah. But it did. I mean, there were still guys inside, like, you know, with their Monster Energy drinks and fucking in their pajamas pounding on the game while, you know, people are outside drinking. So it didn't go unnoticed for me. Like, I absolutely was like, oh my God, what the fuck? So we're really close to the end of this. So in terms of, you know, those guys and any of the actors owing anyone anything, you know, in terms of, like, you know, camaraderie or not throwing other people under the bus, them just trying to survive with their own audience circles. Totally get it. But speaking of the game's out and I still hadn't been paid. Now, something I found interesting in the Right Opinions deep dive of the project was how Birkin, on more than one occasion that he had video clips of it, mentioned the importance of funds specifically for paying voice actors. Because as he put it, Birkin, voice acting isn't cheap. He says this in his fundraising justification interviews. That it just hits really fucking hard. Especially, I mean, look, we saw the contract. People got paid for voicing after everybody else got paid. And you know what? I'm not going to lie. I actually agree with that. I think if you're an animator, or you're a director, you're a sound designer, I think they should absolutely get paid before all your voice actors, because your voice actors generally just come in for an afternoon, they do their lines, and they fuck off. You know, these guys are cranking. They're cranking all day. You know, these guys are dedicated. Pay those motherfuckers. That said, dude, I've been working on this project since October 2017. I don't know when the final release date was. But, and I know that, like, other guys have been working prior to that as well. You know what? I was owed money. So I had heard that the other voice actors had been paid $500, $600 or offered at the very least. Some turned it down. which I totally understand. They want to wipe their hands clean. Others, I hope they get paid. The ones that needed it or wanted it, or we're like, hey, I put in the time, and even if this project sucks, I still put in the time. But the amount of lines and days and hours and nights and just frustrating, mind-melting conference calls, I wanted my fucking money. I've worked on this project for fucking so long.
Oh, fair enough.
I wasn't going to let $5,000 or $7,000 go down the fucking drain.
Right.
Especially if I was on call like an emergency ward doctor whenever he needed me at 3 a.m. to record 100 fucking lines. But because the game did so poorly, as it rightly did, and there was no money. So I brought this up to Birkin, and he promised me that this is all just a hiccup. Come on, man. No, this isn't the version. Everything would be everything would be sorted out. They'd have support for shit. They'd fix stuff, and it'd be a great success. And if it would make me feel better in the meantime, he'd throw me $500. Yes, I took that money. So I got $500 out of all of this. So absolutely, out of the many months, if not almost a full year, I can't remember, of work, I got my $500. It wasn't a full year every day. That's unfair. But there was just over that course of time and all the lines and hours and days and nights.
What'd you spend it on?
Pills.
Yeah, fair enough. Sweet.
But yeah, this is the same shit I spent it on. Yeah, I spent it on a $500 cigar. I wrote Birkin's name in Sharpie on the side, and I flushed it down the fucking toilet. No.
What if that's where the budget went? He bought you guys $500 cigars because he was really confident.
The way that the money was being spent at the time, maybe it was. I don't know. I don't know how much that apartment cost. I don't know anything. I'm not going to say that I know where that money went or how much he walked away with, if anything. But for all the people that deserved a refund and didn't get it, my heart goes out to you. Look, I appreciate $1 on Patreon. I get paying $30 or whatever the fuck it was for that game when it first came out, and it wasn't even playable. Like, I can imagine that's your money. And for all the people that actually paid and then played the game and wasted so many hours of their life who couldn't even probably beat the game because they'd have to no clip through in order to fucking win or get through anything. Again, my heart goes out to you. But whatever you spent on the game, time, money, frustration, anger, it is not a visible fraction of what I went through. And I'm not trying to martyr myself. I'm not. I'm just saying, as much as you guys are justified in that, I took my $500 fucking dollars, and that I'm fucking fine with that. So at that point, I was certain when he told me here's $500 and the other 4,500 or 6,500, it ain't gonna happen. I mean, he didn't say that, but once he gave me the $500, at that point, I knew I wasn't gonna get the rest of the money. So I tried to be nice, but I'd pretty much given up. I'm not gonna be able to bleed a fucking stone at this point. The game was a disaster. There was no money. I could beg for it. I could threaten him for it. I wasn't gonna get it. And at the end of the day, I did feel bad for the guy. I've been young and ambitious and wanted to do things. So yeah, there's a part of me that's watching this guy try to put on a strong face in front of these overwhelming odds of just this huge failure where everyone's pointing and laughing and mad and everything. And for me to ask for my money at this point, it just feels bad at some point, even though, dude, come on, man.
Someone in chat said this before. Apologies, I can't remember your name, but someone said hunt down the 5K. I thought that was quite funny.
I hope people who hunted down their refunds got them. Anyways, I wrote, this is the final act, and then there is an epilogue. But final act. This is where the deets get juicy. All right?
Oh, so juicy.
Clench your nuts, lads. It's going to get,
they've been clenched this entire time.
All right. So I reached out a little later after the quote unquote final patches were added that were supposed to fix the game.
And we're out of time. Looks like we're going to have to save the rest for
All
patrons.
right. Well, next time. Thank you for having me, guys. So I reach out. This is after all the patches are done. It's just a shot in the dark. I don't expect anything. I mean, nothing's gotten better. It's just gotten worse at this point. People making all their exposés and shit. Anyways, but I did want to reach out because, hey, it's a sum of money. that would help with life and bills. And so I reach out, and that's when I realized just how unsinkable Birkin truly was. Refunds were hurting the game. Bad sales hurting the game. The game hurting the game. But he had another plan up his sleeve. Oh yeah. Nobody knows about this plan.
Okay.
The character that I Hate Everything voiced was technically Asian, originally Asian American.
Yeah,
right.
Sure. Right.
I mean, you guys probably saw the video on it. Right Opinion. They had that clip, and I Hate Everything spoke about it.
I didn't really have the heart to say, you realize I'm not Asian, right? I'm as white as you can get.
So, in this conversation, Birkin told me, and hey man, if you're listening, come for me, boy. I mean, don't. I mean, I that was rude. Sir, if you have a problem with what I'm saying, I welcome your discourse in respect. So he says, as the walls around him are crumbling, the crowds are closing in with their memes and pitchforks and accusations. His dev team bailing over the railings without life vests. Birkin stood untouched, unfazed, and told me he would rebrand the game advertising, focusing on I Hate Everything's Asian character, and sell it to China.
What?
Because apparently, even if he sold this broken garbage game to Chinese players who apparently enjoy playing broken garbage, that was pretty much a direct quote. And now I may be wrong. There may be people in the chat who are like, nope, actually, there's a history of Chinese players who like to play broken games. Okay, if that's true, that's true. But still, the idea that you are going to refurbish the advertising of this game to highlight I Hate Everything's character because he's just quote unquote Asian. We don't know what Asian, just Asian. Just sell it to China. And he said even if he sold the game for $1 or $2, it would still make a profit.
Dude, there's so much wrong with that plan that I don't even know where to start.
It's so bad, it kind of comes around to being good again. Like, it might almost work.
And maybe that's his brilliance. Maybe that's why Activision hired him. I don't fucking know. But, dude, I tried to be as polite as I could during that conversation. I was like, oh, well, good luck. And but at that point, even the bottom of rock bottom dropped for me. Like, I didn't think it could get any fucking worse at that point. And that to me, so when I say it's shady, it's not necessarily shady so much as it's just like, I mean, it is kind of shady, but it's not like, look, if people want to buy it for $1 or $2, that's their thing. You know what I mean? It just seems so, I don't know. Like he knew the product was garbage at that point, but was still trying to sell it to an entire country. I don't know. It just, so anyways, I didn't foresee that happening. Sometime after that, his dev Discord desperately tried to reach out to him. Some team members were dropping exposés. You guys probably saw some clips of that, on the game, on the workspace. I'm working with Birkin. The Discord was a pretty bitter place, understandably. There were anger at critics and haters that were saying that it was all a scam because honestly, a lot of guys fucking worked on this thing. And there was anger at Birkin for, how he handled things. A lot of people poured their hearts and soul into it. Some people moved to LA to work on this full time, sleeping on couches and floors. All right. So people cared. And ultimately, at the end of the day, Birkin just bounced. He bounced off Discord. All those messages gone, whatever. All right, here's the epilogue and then it's done. And then I'm all done. Okay. So a few years later, Birkin hit me up on Facebook Messenger. I do have the chats. I'm not going to share them. I'll paraphrase if for any need for me to share them, I will, but I doubt it. I hate that kind of fucking shit. I hate sharing fucking personal messages. I hoped, he said that he hoped I didn't hate him. And I said I didn't, because I don't. Obviously, I'm frustrated, but he's a young guy who made some mistakes. Doesn't mean I hate the guy. I just You know what I mean? But I did mention that some people might be sour about the money that wasn't paid.
Right.
His response to me mentioning how some people might be sour about that money was him inadvertently. Well, hold on. First, he tells me he got a job at Activision. Okay. So admittedly, I'm fucking shell shocked. I'm like, what? This guy evaporated, yeeted himself off the internet, and then he just fucking like Nightcrawler vamps himself back into a job at Activision? Like this guy? What? How is this possible? It blew my mind. After everything that had gone down and all the poor motherfuckers left in the wake of his ambition and chaos, he somehow came out on top, unscathed. Like all the debts he owed, all the people, everything. He had a job at a game company. What? So anyways, he said after that, hey, maybe summarizing, maybe I can help you. I'd love to be able to help you get a role, like a voice role in an Activision game. And I was like, dude, I'm all good. And I just remember his response, lol, you don't want a voice in COD? And I was just like, dude, no, not because I don't want a voice in a game by Activision. I know people have their opinions about Activision. Whatever. It's a job. I'll do it and I'll do it the best I can. But I just didn't want it through him. And I didn't, honestly, I just didn't believe a word he said. I don't think he would ever, make that happen. There's no reason for me to believe him.
Yeah.
Now, if he does listen to this podcast, which I hope he does, again, don't hate the guy. I do have one thing I want to say. And that is, if you ever, Birkin, if you ever want to be respected or trusted by anyone who worked with you before you up and fled the internet for your major gaming company job, and maybe you don't, maybe you don't give a shit because you already got what you needed out of them. But if you ever want their respect or trust again, a good way to start is to clear your debts. I don't even mean me, honestly. You have a job now, which apparently seems like a nice job. And I'm assuming you're making some money if you're going to tell people that you work for Activision, Blizzard, whatever the fuck, as a production manager or whatever it is. Now, this might be the time for you to take one shred of responsibility for all the folks you left high and dry with your project. I'm not putting all the blame on you, but there is responsibility. The folks that you walked upon the backs of to gain your current success, because that success sure as shit wasn't based on your sole contributions to hunt down the Freeman. So we're all out here. And again, I told you privately, I don't care about my money, and I don't. But there are plenty of people who could fucking use that. And I guess I just leave it to you.
All right.
Damn,
all right,
Daniel.
that's it.
That was good.
Someone in the chat,
Wow.
Videogre, one of our patrons, says, hunt down the credibility. I think that's a good way to sum it up there at the end.
Well, he's got a job, so he didn't need it, apparently. I mean, he got a job without the credibility, so
Can I just say as well, you started that by saying, Birkin, I thought you were going to say, if you ever come around Burbank, California. It really sounded like it was a threat. It wasn't, obviously. Not saying it was, but it was funny the way he started that.
Dude, I would buy him a drink.
Would you kiss him?
Just so I could sit down and I would not kiss him. I would buy him a drink just so I could sit down and stare him in the eyes and be like, yo, dude, what are you going to do? But I honestly think that the answer is that he's already proven his answer. It's been years. I don't think he's never tried to make good on any of the shit. I mean, yeah, he kind of pathetically reached out and was like, I hope you don't hate me, but that was it. That's all. I was 18 and stupid and young. Oops, like that. That's the most
Mario now.
That's the oh no.
He's been jumping on coin blocks for fucking years trying to get your money back, Mick.
Yeah, the devs' heads. The devs' heads were just like, bring, bring, bring.
He's donating $1 at a time. He's still got 4,000 to go.
Anyways, I'm sorry that took so long. Oh shit, that took like a full fucking hour.
Sorry?
So
It didn't feel like an hour.
Nick,
having
just like
the time of our life.
Doug, I DM'd you a while back specifically because we wanted you to talk at length about this. Like,
Okay.
well done. Just this was good. Yeah,
that was awesome. That was what the people needed. That was what you needed. I think you needed to get that off your chest.
I will say it's a bit cathartic because there is a rumor that Mick is so nice. And I don't like that rumor because I don't ever want that Ellen DeGeneres shit. You know what I mean?
Ellen Degenerate.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want that reputation because then the moment you do something that isn't nice, people are like, wait a minute, you're not the nice guy everybody said. And I'm not. I mean, I try to be as respectful and kind as possible. But they're like, look, I'm not always nice, you know?
You're a human is what you're saying.
Yes, correct. I try to be, at least, though ex-wife and ex-girlfriends have claimed that I've been a robot. But I will say that in terms of this,
in the sheets,
I'm still the Energizer buddy. No, I just stand totally still like a live doll or whatever the fuck it's called. Like,
you T-pose and clipping someone over does something.
Fuck me. You gotta feed me a quarter in order for me to vibrate or something. Yeah,
it makes that Half-Life clipping noise where it's like.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of this, like, again, I honestly don't hate the guy, and I would always try to be as respectful as possible. But it doesn't mean I'm not gonna like get in his grill and be like, dude, what the fuck, you know? Like, come on, man. You can do better.
I mean, he owes you $5,000. I think that's a pretty reasonable.
Well, 4,500 or 6,500. It's one of the.
Yeah, of course. don't want to forget the 500, the token 500.
Still a lot of money. He owes you a lot of money.
I think it's very reasonable to call someone out who owes you that amount of cash for the amount of effort it sounds like you put in.
Honestly, I hope the best for him. Because there were so many people that worked under him that were clearly either capable or that were aspirational, that really believed in pursuing that career. And they believed that project was going to be the thing that was going to help them. And it bums me out that, you know, so many of those guys did get shafted, you know, whether it's sound guys or level designers or programmers or asset designers or all these people who for years believed in this project. And I'm not going to put all of it on Birkin. I think a lot of it's on him, but not all of it. I mean, you know, there's a certain gravity to projects where, let's say you have a good idea, or at least any idea, even a bad idea, and you get enough people believing in it. And then all of a sudden, people start hoping for the best. Yeah. And then you get then, you know, like it starts to grow and it becomes infectious and you start to get more people involved and everybody, they'll see the flaws. But at this point, everyone's got rose tinted glasses because you got so many people who got positive views at this point. So even when you see something that's fundamentally flawed in your mind, that's something they're going to work out. That's something that we can fix. That's something that's going to not be an issue, especially when the mouthpiece of that project is telling you those exact words.
Yeah.
That this isn't even the real release. This isn't really what the project is. This does not represent the work that we've done. But it is. And for all those people who put in their time and effort, for all of it, everybody handing their key power to Goku, right? Everybody's giving their key power to Goku. And then he's got this big power ball, and you guys say ki, but in Chinese we say chi. I don't know what other people call it. Anyways, and then all of a sudden he just fucking evaporates it into space and fucking buys a bunch of cigars with it and gets a job at Activision. I do think there's a bit of like, dude, everybody believed, everybody contributed, everybody tried their best, and not everybody got paid. You know, a lot of people didn't get fucking paid, and I can live with it. I'm fine. I'm okay. But some other guys sleeping on the ground on a couch because they, you know, like they felt like they had to be there. Like, it's just not okay. Now, maybe that kind of lack of empathy, and I'm not trying to call him a sociopath. I'm not going to say that. But that kind of inability to put yourself in the shoes of the people that you hire to work on your own projects makes you a perfect project manager for a video game. Maybe you need that distance. Maybe you need to not see the people that you work with as fucking humans. Maybe you need that in order to power through the day and get those deadlines done. But this was an indie game, right? And these were people sleeping on floors. I'm not trying to make it sound like there was like 100 people sleeping on floors. I'm just saying that there were people who gave up a lot to be there. And just boggles my mind that there's just no responsibility taken. That's it.
Well, question. I mean, I don't know how much you know. Like, were like the devs and stuff, were they being paid in like bi-weekly, or was it like once the game's done, then you'll get paid?
No idea. No idea.
I feel like it's an indie game, but it has the quote unquote backing of like a pretty iconic video game, like a pretty big franchise that a lot of people are familiar with.
One of the biggest.
Yeah, exactly. So it must be like a big time gut punch to like, you know, once everything is said and done, and then, you know, like you said, Goku just evaporates the spirit bomb and then yeets himself into Activision.
Yeah.
Like that must fucking suck from a game developer perspective.
I think from what I recall, and again, this is all hazy, it's been years, but I think from what I recall, there were certain dev roles that did get paid at least not regularly, but got paid kind of in between shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That like a couple months went by and they're like, dude, I've been working on the game for fucking ever, man. Like, where's my fucking money, man?
Yeah. Right.
And so I think he was offloading some of the funds to like his dedicated team that had been around for years or however long it had been in development. So I think some people definitely did get paid, but I think especially during the chaos and towards the end rush, when they were trying to bring on as many fucking people as possible, that I do think a lot of people got shafted pretty fucking hard. And as you guys saw from the contract, most likely the voice actors, though, as the Right Opinion pointed out, you know, a lot of people didn't bring it up because they would want to disassociate themselves from the project. Yeah. The money that you'd end up making would have been nominal anyway. A few $100s here or several $100s here. Yes, that is, it doesn't hurt, but it's certainly not going to break you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And would you rather your reputation be on the line or, you know, just try to completely distance yourself from the project? I totally understand that. And for me, I'm not a commentary channel. My audience knows that I am a voice actor. At least some of my audience knows I'm a voice actor. So if I'm going to do the work, even if the project is a bust, yeah, I would like to get paid. Now, again, I obviously didn't. And I'm not taking them to court. I was over it years ago. I just chalked it up to, well, I got fucked. And that was it. And then I moved the fuck on, you know, and that's life. And not only did I, insult to injury, not only did I not get the money, but I was a part of a project that apparently everybody thinks, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it was just a shitty project on top of everything else. So
yeah, I totally understand that, by the way, but I think this is one of those projects where the fact that they got some voice actors and some YouTubers that are kind of in most ways strange for the project makes it kind of an interesting novelty. Like, I really doubt anyone looks at this and thinks, oh, Alex, I hate everything. Well, screw him for being on this. Like, he was dumb for that. They probably think it's hilarious that he plays that role.
Yeah, it's kind of funny more than anything.
Look,
absolutely.
absolutely, 100%. At the end of the day, like, I saw a Nicholas Diorio video where he used clips from the game. And I won't lie, it took me by surprise. And there was a part of me that was really happy. You know, there was no part of me that was like, ah, shit. It was just like, lol, that thing. You know, and so I feel like, you know, at the end of the day, it is a part of the internet. It's not the room, as, you know, that was mentioned in the Right Opinion video, that it's not nearly as like memorable or
so bad it's good.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, I think for the people who are involved, the stories are on par in terms of like the production of it. I think that the stories in terms of the production, working with Tommy Wiseau or working with Birkin, are actually somewhat on par. But in terms of the final product, I think obviously the room is still endlessly entertaining for,
So you're saying reasons, that the real Freeman is the friends we made along the way.
Yeah,
absolutely. You hunted down along the... Actually, I've got a question real quick.
Hunt down the room.
So many people... so like Pyro made a video. I had everything made a video. The question just to everyone really, did Keemstar make a video or comment on this in any way? I
think he tried to distance himself as much as possible.
Yeah.
Sure, it doesn't seem like him.
Yeah. And you know what? Yeah. That's fine. I haven't spoken a whole lot about it. I mean, if people ask, I'll bring it up. But I mean, his role was fairly small too. I mean, he played President Keemstar, and let's be frank. The fact that he got to be president in a video game, no matter how bad that game was, I think is something Keemstar appreciates to a degree. Even if the game was bad, he got to be president for a game that is a part of internet history. I think he's cool with that.
So is the game set in the Drama Alert Nation?
Oh.
Well, the real question is, if Keemstar was president, would you kill yourself?
Yeah.
Like the second he's inaugurated, would you just...
I wouldn't, but I'd also probably delete my Twitter account. But I would support my president if he was legally elected into office. If Keemstar got elected, I would support him and wish the best for him and our country. But I would not. I would fucking yeet my fucking Twitter account.
Bye.
No, me man, bad.
I could just see him. By the way, instead of saying "my fellow Americans," he'd be like, "What is up, Drama?"
That would be amazing, by the way.
He'd be at the podium with like G Fuel sitting on the side.
Yeah. I gotta say, his presidential updates would be a hell of a lot more entertaining. I might begrudgingly tune in to like every single one of them.
Yeah.
To be fair, we did just have about 4 years of that.
We kind of did. Well, I don't want to get into politics. I do find a lot of parallels between the two of them, but let's
what the fuck did I say we? I live in Australia. Fuck this.
Well, I feel, American politics are international politics. Let's
I'll
tell
you what, I know much more about American politics than I do about Australia and New Zealand.
Exactly.
The only place I'm legally allowed to vote. I barely kept up for that election.
Yeah.
I know that you have a beautiful, wonderful female, prime minister?
Yeah, Prime Minister. Yeah, Jacinda. Shout out to Jacinda. She's
hung out with Stephen Colbert and hangs out with the real folk and
just Twitch streamers and shit. She shows up on their Twitch streams for some reason. Yeah,
she's like the good AOC in my opinion. Honestly,
I'm playing Among Us.
I don't hate AOC. I just feel like she tries way too fucking hard, and I feel like the Prime Minister of New Zealand I don't know. It's just charming enough. Maybe it's her accent. I don't know.
Maybe.
Like she just.
Well,
it works for her. For me.
It's me.
Guys, let's move on because we do have a couple more things that people have been very nice to.
Yeah.
So I do have a question. It was to a point that we were on before. Real quick, sorry. So when you said like the whole creators disavowing this as like something that they've done, it is like I already forgot who said it because I feel like this is.
I won't say their name.
No. Well, what I was saying was like, okay, so you have the YouTubers who did these voices for these characters. Yeah. The game was a disaster. Whatever. It's a funny thing, and it's just funny to laugh at. Like, yeah, I did that thing. I didn't get my money, but whatever. It's hilarious. But you, as you are more of a voice actor. I'd imagine that that's something that you would want to disavow because, like, for future clients or whatever, when they're looking over your work and they see this atrocity that you did.
Yep.
You were good, but like, the actual thing itself was bad. Like, I'd imagine it's a different story for you as opposed to everybody else who worked on it.
I tried my best to do the best I could within the limits I had. That includes the script and the directing. That said, it's on my IMDb. I can't erase it.
Yeah.
And I feel like mentioning it or trying to make a public statement is really just drawing more attention to it.
Right.
And I feel that about a lot of drama, honestly.
Well, I think this is going to be your public statement. Essentially, people are going to treat it that way. Either way.
Yeah, but it's a lot better than a fucking tweet and I'm not going to make a video on it because my channel isn't that. But this is about as close as I get to like fully exposing myself and flashing everybody with the knowledge of what fucking happened, the hairy, untrimmed knowledge of all the deets,
the testicles of your experience.
Yeah.
The cock and balls of truth.
Just unabashed. But yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, you guys already mentioned it. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's a part of it's something that we can laugh about. And look, if people, of all the things that I have to disavow myself from, you know, whether it's Sleepy Cast or whatever, there's plenty of things that I've been a part of.
Fuck that podcast.
No, I will always love them boys.
How dare you?
But in terms of like shit to be, in terms of things that I have to be embarrassed about, I feel like, I know we live in an age where you got to be careful about what you put on the internet because someone's going to call it up and fucking, peg you to a fucking cross. But look, it's out there, and I did my best, and it's funny to a degree. The shitty, weird, crazy things that some of us do sometimes, if we're sorry or we acknowledge just how crazy it was, I would hope that people can walk away with a chuckle. But if people want to get angry about shit, they do. I mean, I still get retweets about the photo that I took out in front of that house that I talked about for that party, where we're all smoking cigars, and it's like, you all should kill yourself, shit like that. And that's a pretty normal, Twitter response. I get that. But, it's just what it is, and I don't feel like I need to come out and draw more attention to it. This seemed like a good venue, because if I draw more attention to it, I have to at least be able to voice every or more parts of it than a tweet or a tweet thread can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I appreciated this opportunity when you guys mentioned, like, hey, we want to talk about Hunt Down the Freeman. I was like, dude, I'm gonna fucking dig up some. I even have voice clips that I pulled up that I was gonna send to you, where you could hear Birkin voicing all the characters in a cutscene. A lot of them got deleted, but I caught one. Mick,
if you want to send me some of those, I will put them in bonus content. Like, I will deliver. I will send it to you.
Now, here's the thing. It said specifically in my contract I can't do it, but I am absolutely no. Fuck that. We already discussed this. I don't give a shit. Come at me. Please.
You haven't been paid, so
yeah.
All right, that kind of nullifies the contract.
You know what? Sue me, and then I'll take that. I'll sue you for the money you owe me, and then I'll walk away with a fucking bonus. I'm actually gonna. Yeah, go for it.
I was going to say, you said you were excited to come on here to be able to kind of talk about this. If there's just in the future, if there's like anything you'd like to talk about that's slightly too long for a twit longer, you can just come on. Just like,
oh, you guys have such great guests. I don't want to be that guy that fucking, I love listening. It's just like with streams too. If I bounce in a stream, it very rarely happens. But if someone's like, oh shit, Mick's here, and then people start asking me questions, I'm always just like, dude, we're here for this person's stream. Like, please, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I am engaging with a friend or whatever. I did come in that one time when you guys had Jay Aubrey because I wanted to say hi to him.
Hey, Mick. Is my mic on?
Yes.
Yeah. Turn the shit off. Somebody mute me.
Hello.
And that turned into a great episode.
Well, I certainly never wanted to be about me, but I definitely wanted to pop in and just be like, hi, okay, I like your work, bye.
I like your hat.
Yes. You have a cute face, bye-bye.
Ciao.
I actually haven't seen his face, so I don't know.
Mick, we love you, and you are welcome to come on here and fucking spit facts
daily
whenever you want.
I'm going to say maybe once every 6 months.
Daily Rice Pirate podcasts coming up.
Do you guys record daily?
No, we don't. And
do you guys do daily podcasts?
We will for you.
We will with you.
You guys are so positive. Oh shit, we still have Fuck, are we ending now?
No,
we still have
a lot
Colossal
more to
and
get to. That's why I keep saying, like, guys, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
we actually have to move on.
Oh, Enough of me.
All right,
We're done. I said my piece. I am very curious about what they have to say. So please, for my sake, let's fucking hear this shit.
And it's just a last little note. I do like the idea of, like, every 6 months or so, just having Mick come in just to chat about stuff. Like, not every day.
Mick's rant corner.
Mick's random drunk. Wait, you guys are recording corner.
Yeah,
we could have a segment called the Quick Mick.
Wasn't that his nickname in high school?
Yeah, exactly. Wait a minute. No, guys, erase, delete that, delete whatever you just said. I didn't ever know.
Okay, guys. Okay, let's just for streamlining purposes. Okay,
focus. Yeah.
So we actually. I actually reached out to basically every voice actor I could when it came to this project.
Even ones who weren't on it.
Mick was the first one, and I also reached out to a couple others. I'm not going to say the names of the people who didn't get back to me just because, I'm sure that a lot of people who are involved in that project have very busy schedules. Most of them are popular YouTubers. I'm going to assume most of them didn't even didn't see the email in the first place. But there were 2 people who were nice enough to actually type something up for me. And those 2 people are Bunty King and Colossal is Crazy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
2 great gentlemen.
And
I can't speak on Bunty's behalf. I haven't met Bunty, but I have met Colossal, and he is a lovely, lovely man.
I met Bunty, and I'll say this, and I'll say it publicly. I met him at a bar. Guy was nice as can be. Nice as can be. And he's friends with Chris Raygun, and I love Chris. Chris is a fucking immaculate dude.
I think that Bunty King is a very genuine individual.
Yeah, that's a very polite way of saying it. I will say that I've seen what he's posted, posts me hanging out with him, and I cannot defend it. I can't at all. Some of it is fucking weird. But again, in person, seemed like a really solid guy.
Yeah.
Some of the shit he said on Facebook and Twitter, dude, please stop. So that's all I can say.
I don't know anything about that, and it was also I realized as soon as I said both nice people.
We can
that
go.
I actually don't know
we can
anything
do
about
this.
it.
We can get into the discussion about this later. We got to get through with this. Okay, so
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so Bunty and Clown were nice enough to type up some little statements on this so that they can contribute to this episode. So thank you very much to both of you. I'm going to go ahead and read Bunty's. It's a little bit shorter. It just kind of goes over his time with the project, and it does have a couple juicy details.
Cool.
Okay.
And then I'm going to have Kudos read Colossal to read Clown's segment, which is pretty extensive.
Ooh.
So thank you, Videogre, in the chat, one of our patrons who actually helped us out to get me in contact with Bunty, and also thank you to I think it was Jen Dojangles who helped me get in contact with Clown.
And if you'd like to help Lars get in contact with Bunty, you can go to discord.t1podcast.com.
Yeah.
Or I could just DM him myself at this point.
Or, well,
all right, let's get to the statements. Okay.
Yes.
So Bunty says the following. So I don't remember exactly what was said between Birkin and myself, but I was introduced to him through Colossal is Crazy, a Royal British Rat. At the time of our conversation, he seemed very enthusiastic about the project and mentioned that it was a licensed Half-Life title, which definitely piqued my interest as Half-Life is an IP that is very dear to me. He asked me if I wanted to be the voice of Metro Police, and I happily agreed, because I thought it would be fun and awesome to have my voice in an officially licensed Half-Life game. Money wasn't an issue for me, I was just happy to be involved. It's sad that it ended up being such a disappointment, and that friends like Mick got screwed out of a lot of time and money. Birkin never even sent me a code for the game.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Yeah, but he ends it by saying, "No biggie, he already has enough shit games in his Steam library as it is."
Yeah, no, he did him a favor. He did him a favor by not giving him a code because he just would have wasted a fucking afternoon trying to play the thing and just would have been really angry anyway. Yeah.
So thank you, Bunty, for the tea there. I really enjoyed spilling it.
Yeah,
that's really funny.
All right, the next. Any commentary on that? Otherwise, we got to move on to Kudos' his clown reading.
No, I'm even more annoyed that he did not even get a code for his time and effort in that fucking.
Yeah, to not send a fucking code.
No, that is embarrassing. That is just such a god. It's such a quintessential snapshot of the amount of disrespect that, and you know what? Not disrespect. I'll say neglect.
Sure.
It's
because disrespect is active, right? Neglect is inactive and not thinking about people. So that is where I'll drop that line.
Okay.
He could have at least sold it on some Russian key website and got $10 back or something, you know?
Sorry, Bunty, you deserved better.
Bunty, you deserved a key.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, go ahead, Kudos.
All right, here's the statement from the late Colossal is Crazy. How British do you want to do this?
Or a kiss.
Very British.
Try to do a really terrible impression of him.
Rest in peace.
Okay.
Very. You got to do the same inflection too.
Chad, anything for views, hit me up one day, yeah, and asked me if I'd like to do some voice acting for.
I don't think it's
for a video game. I
love the Cockney, fucking Colossal.
Cockney Lossel. Yeah. That's what he sounds like if you actually talk to him, he's incredibly Cockney.
Oh, is he?
His accent is very different in real life.
Continue.
Oh, funny. That's tea. That's the tea I wanted tonight.
He's joking.
Yeah. No, he's not actually Cockney, but his voice isn't nearly as posh as what he puts on in his videos. Anyway.
All right.
I didn't know what the game was, yeah? I didn't know what it was about. I didn't ask how much I'd be paid. I didn't care about any of this. I automatically said yes because it sounded slick as fuck. And because it's something I'd always wanted to do. I got on a call with the creative director, Birkin, and took an instant like to him. I don't care what anyone says about him. This man is not some of the things others have been saying. He did not speak English very well, and I had some difficulty understanding him at times, but honestly, they just made me like him even more. I thought he was going to be another fake LA shithound high on his own farts. Some narcissistic video game developer speaking to the lowly peasant YouTuber. Nothing could be further from the truth. He showed me some gameplay footage and I thought, it looked great. I've never played Half-Life 2, just the first one, but I'm aware of the game and what it looks like. This was definitely not Half-Life 3, but maybe some kind of DLC for Half-Life 2 kind of thing. That's how I saw it. There was parkour, new weapons, new enemies, and a very interesting and appealing concept. This is what I was made aware of at the time. I wasn't shown cutscenes, just what some of the characters would look like and various animations for them. Nothing I was shown at any point made me stop and think, this looks like total dog shit. When he outlined my character, can't say I was particularly interested in the character himself. Some kind of religious zealot, commander, admiral, or some shit. I'm still not kind of confused, to be honest. Really not something that I thought would suit my voice, and some southern evangelical preacher would make a far better job of it. But then, what do I know? It's a dystopian future kind of video game, so, it's possible. I didn't think much of my voice lines either. They were just kind of bland and generic. But this was a small part, so I didn't think much of that either.
Generic? Hold on, I'm sorry, I gotta interject. Generic? I do not think the captain's lines were generic.
They were anything
fucking all, dude. Like, that character stood out like a JoJo character in real life. Like, that, it was just like, what the fuck was happening? Anyways, please go on.
I agree. My understanding of how the game industry works in terms of voice acting was that everyone records all this shit in the studio. If there's any conversations between different characters, the actors kind of need to be there together, at the same time to play off each other. My recording setup at the time was literally a closet. I put a couple of pillows to the side of a $50 microphone and just wing it. This was perfectly acceptable for a Twitch stream or even a YouTube commentary video. For a video game, not so much. That was my main concern with my involvement in the project. At one point, I even offered to physically go to a recording studio in the UK on my own dime to do this. Birkin did not think this was necessary. Though I was not made aware of this at the time, the scene I featured in ended up being outside in the open. Quite a significant disparity from the closet. When I sent the audio in, I sent the raw file. By raw, I mean no noise had been removed and I didn't even run a basic compression.
No
comment. The audio quality here would have been consistent with a stereotypical gaming live stream. The developer needs the audio in its purest form to be able to work it themselves. The scene is outside, so it's never going to sound as good as if you were to record it outside, but there's a few effects you can employ to improve it, yeah?
Yes.
When I watched my scene, of course, there were not only were there zero of these effects, they'd just used the raw file and sent them. Not equalized, not compressed, no noise removal. These things, by the way, will take less than 30 seconds to do, and you can do them all with using software that won't cost you a single cent. If there was anything that kind of pissed me off, it was that. Because it was just so easy to do. Yeah. Honestly, I was not pissed really. I was offered $500, I believe, for my voice work. A very generous amount, considering it was only a few lines. Birkin even offered to pay me up front, but I turned him down. When the game flopped, of course, it was all quite obvious that I wouldn't be making any money. Birkin had ended up on his plate. Birkin had enough on his plate to worry about paying some YouTube clown his $500. I told him that his financial obligations to me were null and void as far as I was concerned. He did not request this, I was the one that offered. And the same way that he'd come to Chad, he'd asked me if I knew any YouTubers that would be interested in voice acting, and of course I did. I am single-handedly responsible for getting I Had Everything, Pyrocynical, Keemstar, and even Ricepirate. Do you want to edit that out?
No, you don't need to edit it. Yeah. I mean, he said it, so.
Yeah.
If he's okay saying it, I just didn't want to say his fucking name. Look, I have the greatest respect for fucking Colossal. I think he's I don't even know him that well, but of the few conversations we've had, he is a super level-headed guy. I love his fucking, I guess, put on posh voice. I probably love his normal voice too, but I just didn't want to name anybody like, oh, this is the guy who got me involved. But yeah, I mean, look, had Colossal, I mean, we're talking Colossal. You got to understand, this is fucking Colossal. He fucking came to me with this project and he seemed amped about it. Of course I was going to fucking get it on.
Just to reiterate, by the way, 100% just to make sure, the things that we're reading off right now are statements that were absolutely cleared ahead of time and fully understood that they're going to be read verbatim on air. And they know all the consequences for that. They know exactly what they're doing when they're saying this stuff.
I don't think there's actual real consequences. I just didn't want to throw anyone else under the bus. That's all. And as far as like throwing someone under the bus, I mean, let's be honest. It's not that big of a bus I'm throwing. You know, even if I did name people, it wouldn't be that big of a deal because Birkin's still the champion of this fucking game.
Everyone got swindled. It wasn't like Clown secretly knew. He's like, oh, let's get Ricepirate on this piece of shit. This will be funny.
The thing is that for me personally, when I think of Colossal, I think of credibility. I think of him vetting things. I think of, you know what I mean? Like all that shit.
Absolutely.
And I think hearing his statement makes perfect sense. I totally got where he was coming from because when he showed me the stuff, I felt that too. Whether it was partially because of his, his positivity towards it all, I don't know. But I will say that, you know what? Even if a random person hit me up, I can say this with full confidence. If a random person hit me up and was like, hey, we're doing a Half-Life project and it's got this cutscene and we've got this project and we got this license and it's backed by Valve. Yeah, I would have auditioned. Sure. I absolutely would have auditioned.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, we got to cut it here because we got to continue because there's a little bit more.
Okay, go ahead. Please. Yeah.
There's still more. I want to tell a Colossal story after this as well. I'm single-handedly responsible for getting I Hate Everything, Pyrocynical, Keemstar, and even Ricepirate, who voiced the main character involved in this game. I'm not sure they'll ever forgive me for that one. Haha.
I do 1,000%. Never fucking phased me. I wished him a happy new year and a Merry Christmas. The guy has never done me wrong. I wish the best for him. I do.
Of course, my intentions came from a good place. Who doesn't want to star in a video game? It's a paid gig, and again, purely based on what I was shown at the time, the game looked slick. Birkin was so happy that I got on these YouTubers that he even offered me a percentage of the game's profits. And technically, to this day, I own, I believe, 5% of Hunt Down the Freeman. Never seen a cent, of course, but like I told Birkin, he owes me nothing. As far as any hard feelings or resentment, I've absolutely none. And despite the game's failure, I also have no regrets. My outlook on this is absolutely positive. This was an interesting and fun experience, a good story to tell. It might sound cliche, but I genuinely learned something from the mistakes here. It's made me think twice about who or what I get involved in, and in a good way. I would 100% do it all again. As for Birkin, I have very few negative things to say. Yes, he was totally experienced. Yes, he was totally out of his depth. Yes, he created pure, unadulterated dog shite. But that does not come from a place of ego. He was always forthright, never manipulative, never leech-like, never fake. This is a man that attempted something, gave it his all, and failed miserably. I do not fault people for failure, nor if they genuinely tried. I like Birkin. I wish him the best, and despite everything, I would still work with him again in the future. Colossal is crazy.
Wow,
that's a statement at the end. Damn, that. Wow, yeah, Tom in the chat's like, wow, yeah. Listen,
Clown's gonna be in the next
I agree with
COD.
all of that. I agree with all of that. except, and I've said it before, is that as far as I'm concerned, as far as Colossal's concerned, like, yeah, we don't need the money and we got a fun story to tell from it. Totally fine. And like I said before, many times I do wish the best for him. And I don't mean that in a backhanded or, whatever passive aggressive bitchy way. I do think, though, that there were a lot of people who did get fucked.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Maybe he paid all of his dev team already. Maybe that's what he's been doing with his time. But I have not seen any proof of that. I've certainly not heard anything like that. Mm-hmm. And so for us, yes, as personalities or as people who didn't invest nearly as much time, yes, overall, it's a lull, it's a win, it's a, you know what, fucking take the, even though I certainly lost a hell of a lot more money than fucking Colossal did. But that said, I don't care. I'm fine. I'm okay. But for the people that worked for him. That to me is something that I feel like he needs to address. And that is something that I don't think is okay. And I don't think anyone who ever worked for him under like a development capacity in terms of like, level design or sound design should ever trust him, should ever work with him. Fucking ever. Do I think he was just a young guy who had a project that he was overly ambitious about? Yeah, absolutely. And, again, for us who weren't that harmed, no big deal. But I do think that there is a credibility issue. I think there is a debt owed. Unless, again, I'm wrong. And if that's the case, fuck me. I'm stupid. If he paid fucking everybody who worked on the team what they were fucking owed, I take back everything I fucking said, and we can all move on and not give a shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. By the
Absolutely.
way, just wanted to point it out once again. Thank you to Bunty King for dropping some additional nuggets there.
Absolutely.
And also thank you to Clown for a very detailed response. By the way, Clown's real name is Wyatt, of all things. I was really surprised to hear that.
Whoa. Yeah, you should erase that. You don't need to be doxing people, dude.
It's a joke. I just like the name
good.
Wyatt. And,
Well, just like how we say your name's Mick, like everyone knows. It's
yeah,
not that.
who's going to believe that?
No, my name is Wyatt, actually. Oh, fuck!
Wait, what?
Oh, no!
Oh, boy.
Anyways.
I'm pretty Wyatt.
Sorry, that was not even a good joke, but it caught me off guard.
Dude, that's everything I say.
Dude, it totally fucking caught me off guard.
All of my jokes are not good. They just catch you off guard. I think that's how I've gotten by so far.
All right. So we have a few more minutes left with Mick before he says he has a hard out at 9 o'clock. So I want to respect that. There is one thing I do have to ask. And it's, people are going to murder me if I don't.
Okay.
Can you say the line?
You fucked up my face. Was that the line that you were talking about?
Yeah, and then the one after that, I put it in the chat.
I think you mean.
Oh, wait, is that you have my permission to die? Is that the line you're talking about? Okay, hold on.
You have my permission to die.
I can't.
Okay, just say Mitchell.
Oh, hey, Colossal is here.
Mitchell.
No, he was young. It was young Mitchell at that time, so it was like, Mitchell.
Wait, how long's Colossal been here? Wait, Colossal, you didn't hear my impression, did you?
Wait, is that
You
the real
did a
Colossal?
great. I hope he listens to the whole thing so he can hear it. I think it was. I could only hope that it was authentic.
Oh, that is. Hey,
At
Clown,
least
what's up, buddy?
In spirit.
Thanks for tuning
In
in.
spirit, I hope it was.
Anyway, so that was
we did it.
that was a juggernaut of a thing. I enjoyed every second of that recording.
Yeah, that was an adventure. That's for sure.
Hey, it was an adventure for all of us. We all got stories. Some of us have different conclusions, but I think a lot of us have a general consensus about how we feel.
General consensus?
And yeah, that we just
new
hope
character Hunt Down the Freeman 2? Voiced by
General
Ricepirate.
consensus.
Hunt down
We
the
all
three
feel
women.
the same way.
yeah, no, just that I think to some degree we all just hope the best for everybody.
All right.
Yeah, I think genuinely, and everybody got something out of it. Everyone got something. If people bought tickets to the Titanic, they survived. They got a story. So
Well, some of, not,
no, not that
Yeah,
real
no,
one.
you're right.
Not the
You're right.
real one.
sorry, 100% of the people who went to the Titanic survived. You're right, Mick.
That wasn't what I was saying.
But it's
I mean,
what
they did make a movie.
Hunt down the metaphor. Okay, that's it.
I'll be at it for a wee while. Hopefully, I get paid $5K.
Oh, and just right before we cut it off, I just want to say, since the last couple times you said, well, yeah, I'm not really here to promote anything, but since there is some Blood Sun Vendetta content out now, like an actual thing for it, you guys, you should go check it out. Just go look it up. Go look up Blood Sun Vendetta.
Absolutely.
It's a love letter to JoJo.
I appreciate that. It is a love letter for sure. I'm still not going to push it hard until the full complete first episode is done. So
Sure.
Who knows if that's until like next year or something like that. But I appreciate anyone who enjoys it or talks about it. That's cool. But I don't Again, this is super meta and it's callback. I don't want to yandere dev myself where I overhype something that I don't have enough, you know what I mean? Enough for people to really get their teeth into in terms of whether or not they want to promote or support something. So
the panty shots was a bit of a weird choice.
You should still plug your stuff.
You know what? I'm on Twitter. I post updates. If you like the updates, you can check it out. It's Ricepirate Mick on Twitter. Other than that, you know, I got a dead YouTube channel that's got some old cartoons. But otherwise, support all the guys making stuff on the daily or on the weekly. I mean, these guys are hustling. These guys are fucking making stuff regularly. Please support these guys. They care about what they do. And they're just good people. You guys are good people. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Oh, thanks, Dad.
Subscribe to Doplex. This is the year we're getting Doplex to 100K. That's I vowed that.
Cool.
We're making
you know what?
Happen
Do that.
because no one deserves it more than him.
Also, guys, if you go back to listen to other episodes of the first podcast, Ricepirate's been on a couple times, so you'll have some other juicy nuggets to tune into there. And I think that's going to do it.
All right, you guys.
Kudos, you took us in. Can you take us out?
Thank you so much to the glorious Ricepirate Mick for
The king.
this. This has been an episode I've been very, very looking forward to ever since we had a chat a couple weeks ago. You're a lovely gentleman. You've inspired many people, including myself, to create content, and I hope we can have you on again one day. But thank you for coming on to talk about Hunt Down the Freeman, and I hope you can hunt down your 5K someday soon.
it's you know what? I got my 5K in karma, I guess. I don't know, but you know, thank you guys so much, and I hope I didn't talk too much or diatribe too hard, but thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Cheers, man. Appreciate it.
This was great. Thank you.
All right, I gotta pee and go do D&D because I'm a fucking man. I gotta go play Dungeons and Dragons now.
I've got D&D in 2 hours.
I got mine 5 minutes ago. All right, I'm gonna pee.
Whoops! I gotta go, guys.
Good night, you guys. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right.
I've never understood that about the Great Unknown, why they feel the need to synchronize to time.gov. Is that like a joke?
That's just the whole podcast, mate. Whole thing's a joke.
Wow.
Wow.